Jim was invited to a meeting with a huge TV station boss, and he was very nervous, but at the same time very excited. When he arrived at the office, he couldn't believe what he was about to hear. The boss spoke. "We can supply you with the answers to win and become the champion in the next episode of the Super Quiz Show. Now please don't tell your friend about what I said, because if you do, trust me, it won't work out good for you. I practically own the networks that have all the big shows on. So if you want to go with this plan, great, but if not, then just forget about it and don't tell anyone." Jim was speechless for a few seconds, but to him it felt like minutes. Then he finally spoke. "You mean you want to give me the answers and win the show and become the champion and beat my friend and break his unbeatable streak?" Brian said. "Yes, and don't forget, for each episode you will win $100,000. So, we will be giving you that for a good few months. In no time you'll be a millionaire." Jim was stuck in a rut, being out of a job and could really do with the money, and didn't want to pass up on the opportunity, so he took the deal. When he told his friend Daniel that he was going to be his opponent on the next show, he pretended he was picked out of the lottery they had every week for different opponents. When Daniel heard about it, he laughed, but didn't think much of it, because to him it would be just another great win. Jim was thinking about it at home while he was watching TV, and he wondered how it would make a difference to him being given the answers, as he could not see his friend Daniel not be able to answer any question, even if it went on for hours. He rang the number of the TV boss and asked him, and was told that they knew questions he didn't know the answers to. Jim didn't bother ask how they knew he wouldn't know, but he found it strange. On the night of the quiz show, they were asked loads of questions. It seemed like hundreds. Finally it came to the last question, and the host, Mr. Major, asked Jim, "Okay Jim, you're on your last question. If you get this right, then you are the winner of this series, which will knock the current Super Quiz champion off, and you will become the champion. The question is a riddle. What ship has two mates and no captain, and you broke it?" Jim found it strange, because he was never given the answer to this question. It was the first time he ever heard it. He could feel the sweat pouring from him and the heat of the lights shining down on him. Suddenly he felt he was going to faint when he looked over and saw his friend Daniel hold a gun to him and say, "I'll give you the answer. Friendship. You broke our friendship by taking that deal." Suddenly Jim heard the voice of the host. "Hello Jim, excuse me, are you okay? We are waiting for your final answer, which would entitle you to be the champion. Let me repeat the question. What is used to measure something, but also a king?" Jim answered, "A ruler." The crowd started clapping and applauding. Then everyone started screaming. He wondered why, and this time he knew he was awake. He saw Daniel hold a gun to him, screaming, "You're no friend of mine," and he shot him dead. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you enjoy the content, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of new content. Terry was annoyed and angry at his friend James. He had told him about an idea of a movie similar to the shark movie Jaws, and he completely stole his idea and started shooting a movie exactly, word for word almost, to his idea. Which made it worse, James didn't even ask him to be involved. Terry knew he had to get his own back on him, but didn't know what he would do. But he knew he would think of something. Eventually he did. It was the second day of the shooting, and they were finally on their first shark attack scene. That is what gave him the idea. He was hidden behind a tree watching them through binoculars. They had a fake shark which looked totally real. There were a couple on the beach talking. Then they went for a swim and they were both attacked by the shark. He had to admit the whole thing looked very real. The next day of shooting, he was behind the same tree watching. He had his binoculars again. The shark was in the water just like yesterday. They swam up to the shark and within seconds there was blood all over the water. The film crew and extras clapped. They were so happy with how real it looked. Suddenly it dawned on them. The reason the scene looked real was because the shark was real. Terry smiled proud of himself for finding a way to locate a real shark and have it exactly where their fake shark should be and ready to attack. He guessed the movie might not go ahead after such a dreadful accident. Then he smiled. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you enjoy the content then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of new content.
I am a social influencer. I was going to visit some friends on a weekend. It was a holiday and my friends lived a couple of hours away. So I left in the afternoon and I would be there by nighttime. As I am driving for about an hour, it starts to storm very hard. I can barely see out of the window and the roads were very slippery and I was still about an hour and a half from my friends. So I just told myself to play it safe. And there was a hotel right there. So I decided to stay in the hotel until the storm would pass. I booked a room to stay there for what I thought would just be an hour or two, the most. But looking at the weather report, it looks like I would be there at least until tomorrow morning. I said. I texted my friends about the storm and that I probably wouldn't be there until tomorrow morning. They said it was fine and to sleep it off. As I'm in my hotel room, I notice there's nobody else here besides me. It feels empty, too empty, I told myself. Then, I hear a sudden knock on the door. My eyes widen, and I go to open it up, and right before I do, they say, "Room service." I look confused. Well, because I never ordered any room service. So I politely reply and say, "I'm okay, please just come back again later." Then I hear a crazy laugh. Then there's silence. I slowly approach the door to take a look at the people and see a man holding a knife with a crazy grin look on his face. He then stares at the people as if he knows I'm looking through it, and then he smiles and then starts banging on the door as loud as possible. I back up and call the police. No answer. Then I call the lobby. No answer. Then the banging stops. I hear the man on the other side of the wall trying to get through. So I open the front door and run for it. Then the man is in front of me with a knife and I fall down. He gets on top of me and lifts his knife, and then everything becomes dark. I wake up in my car and call my friends to let them know that I was back on the road and I would be there as soon as possible. I then put my phone down and remember, I don't have any friends and that I'm homeless. Oof, it was just all a bad dream, I said, smiling. As I look to my left, I see the hotel that was in my dream and the man in the window smiling and waving his knife at me. Then the police arrive right in front of me. I wake up again due to an alarm. The alarm says, "Get up, everyone, get up." As I get up, there are chains around me. I am locked in a small white room. Then a security guard opens the door in front of me, and that door reads, "Mental institution, our most dangerous criminal." As I'm walking out the door, I remember that wasn't all a dream. That was the story of how I attempted to murder a famous social influencer and killed everyone else in that hotel, and how I ended up here. Just one more year left in here, I say to myself. Then I can make my second attempt. That is why I pleaded crazy to end up in here and not in prison for life. I'm coming for you, social influencer, to finish the job.